They starting off on that attacking side. We've seen their attacks. It can go one or two ways. Either they are able to, get that opening pick and then really work from it and take the time. But that's the seldom seen approach. Typically, we just see them run headlong into problems and try and deal with everything with a spray of bullets and a swing around the corner. And it's not always the best answer. We'll have to see how they want to choose to approach Villa, particularly the first couple of rounds, and just see what sort of pace they want to set here. A Jackal ban coming out from Akave. It's it's a ban demo, isn't it?
It is indeed. Last time both these teams played against each other on Villa, it was 10 months ago, Ollie, so I don't really know how much I can really talk about, the last time they played it, because it is a very long time ago, and we know that, especially for MIBR, they have had one roller coaster of a journey since then, and it was Akave who won Villa. I don't think we should read into that all too much. I'm a big believer, Ollie. Get your checklist ready. You ready with the bingo card?
Yeah.
Doesn't matter how you've played in the past. Doesn't matter how you played in the week. It all depends on how you play on the day. I'm sure you're sitting there thinking, oh, he said it again for the 20th time today.
It's true, though. It's true. You think about 10 months ago, it was either, playing with MIBL will have either been playing with Bodega instead of Felipox or Felipox on a controller. So at that point, you can just write off the game. You can, it's not worth bringing up. But Akave can take that, that confidence and they can know that they have done it before, albeit under slightly different circumstances. But alas, it will not be done today. Valkyrie and Awamai to round out the bans there. JJ, a little bit uncertain there if he's going to go for the... he's got no clue what he's going for. We've seen Ash Sophia, and we're going to settle eventually onto a book. Not a bad choice. It's a conversation we had quite a lot yesterday, isn't it, Demo? The old double soft breach on Villa, and teams being reluctant to bring it.
Yeah, one team was very reluctant to bring it, which was very, very strange. I just think that the Sledge and the Buck, they're made for maps like this. Whenever there's so much destructibility in terms of soft destruction, it's a no-brainer in my books. An absolute no-brainer to be bringing both of them. Sure, you could do one, but just having the two, it gives you that flexibility. I think out of the two, I think Buck's probably better because you can do that, top-down vertically and go below and Buck above. But then bringing the Sledge, you get nades as well, which are very good in this map.
You could maybe sub the Sledge for a Finker if you were so inclined, but as you say, ultimately
it's backup if Buck gets picked.
Yeah, it really matters not, because there's even some places where you can get up onto a bench or a table and actually swing the sledgehammer onto the ceiling as well. It's not as pretty, but it still gets the job done.
Yep. Plenty of options. King using the active Iana clone. Just a great little ability that you have. Iana can get in there just yourself. You don't necessarily have to waste a drone or anything. It just gives you that live information. And of course, they just keep regenning, Ollie, so you could just keep popping them out. And whenever you're ready, I just think it's good if you're an Iana player to check, okay, there's a Wamai disc here, there's an ADS here, and then you can kind of send that over to your team and let you know, okay, I need 2 flashbangs, and then I can nade. Because at the end of the day, with this take that we're seeing Akave start to set up, it's going to be that kind of blitz onto the main stairs of all of that utility.
It's already been made a slight bit easier as well, given that Lukin has been taken down here as first blood. GG making use of some of those angles that he'd opened up a couple of seconds ago and just returning to them. Caught Lukin peeking on through. Can start to restrict the players somewhat. Now, a criticism that we did have yesterday was that I think it was more sort of pointed toward Furious Gaming, but it was that they were doing the job of opening up the floor, but there was no one to take advantage of those rotating players and the players that have now got restricted arcs of movement, given that there's so much of the floor is going to be open. And you start to get that feeling here a little bit. Nobody from Akave is in a position to actually try and pressure onto the side and force those players to move into either the waiting arms of Buck below or one of their teammates on the cross.
Ursa very lucky to tank a big old C4 from Reduct. King will find Rats, and now a 3 versus 5. Good standing coming in from Akave. This is good control. They have the downstairs still being worked on. They're starting to rotate players over towards Study. We need to see a drone, though. We need to see a drone onto Reduct, because if he's allowed to play in this position and actually gets away with a kill, it could make things very interesting. Even look at Fleepox, Ollie. He's looking to retake, maybe below, walking down the red stairs. Reduct, he has to be drunk. There's no way he gets away with this, Ollie. There's no way.
You can't just sit in the corner of study and hope to get away with it, can you? But he seems fairly confident in what he's doing. Toxic Babe canisters now coming out onto the 90. Two drones have gone through. I think he has been misdroned. He's going to at least be known now as he grabs himself one, puts a chunk load of damage in onto M-King as well, and rotates himself back into the site. M-King now being taken down by Reduct. Fleepox. The collapse is on, Demo. Everybody is starting to fall. GG's next on the list. It all comes down to Bursa, still outside on the balcony, going to make a swing. 4 seconds left. It's a desperate attempt at that point, and Reduct shuts him down.
They're all laughing. They're all laughing because they should never, ever get away with that. Never get away with that. Blatant misdrones, blatant lack of information. I mean, the sledge walking up the main stairs without study even being checked.
Study was checked. That's the problem. 2 drones had gone through it. 2 drones had gone through study, and the mirror, the Reduct in the corner, just wasn't found.
15 seconds left.
10 seconds.
It's the fact that he got out as well and got himself into Aviator and then was able to go and re-challenge on. A very small thing, but something as well that we've just noticed there in that final kill cam is that Banshee's still up as well. The Banshee on the study doorway to the balcony. That's something that we saw dealt with really nicely yesterday from below with the book.
I just wonder what Akave can do now, because that's a rattler, isn't it? Already the first round, you're in prime position. Great take. You know, great setup, down below Ollie, doing everything right. And then that final second, everything goes out the window. So that's not a good way to start things off, because that's gonna think how we let that happen.
5 versus 3, by the way.
Yeah.
5 seconds to insertion.
Yeah, not the best start. Reduct certainly isn't showing any signs of slowing down after his performance earlier on Chalet. I'm pretty confident he ended that game top frag. He was at sort of 14-ish kills last time I remember looking, so he's certainly carrying that mantle on inside of Villa, picking up 3 in that round. But yeah, like you say, Demo, it's a rattler, and you've got to wonder where Akave go from that, because they've just lost a 3 versus 5, or a 5 versus 3, should I say.
Yep.
They'd got the 2 opening picks, they'd done the hard work, but then nothing. Just a sloppy misdrone and everything falls apart.
Exactly. And this is, we come back to the point that we see on Chalet. You leave one thing open, MIBR will absolutely execute it to the perfect ability that they can. So we move straight away downstairs in towards the kitchen bomb site straight away. We seen this a bit yesterday, didn't we, Ollie, in our Villa match that we cast? We've actually seen teams not want to go for Trophy Statuary. It's actually shied away from quite a bit yesterday.
Yeah, Trophy Statuary wasn't popular at all. I think we saw Living Room and Library twice before we saw Trophy Statuary. It was very strange, but we'll have to see what the preference is here for MIBR. Downstairs into kitchen isn't too strange a thing to do, but it all depends on that third site realistically. Good little trade coming out there. Guicho just joining Novice, guaranteeing that they do get at least something for the Sledge's life and the 2 nades that he possesses there. Not an ideal start, but start nonetheless.
Yeah, a bit of a risky one that I've actually seen Novice jump in towards that bike storage, which generally an area that we don't see pressured at, halfway into the round. That's generally about, 30 seconds. Somebody will jump in there and try and find an angle, just create something else to give the defender something to worry about. MIBR, still, again, on that roam game, we've seen them execute it very well on Chalet. They loved a good roam game. It was more, once the roam game was over, can they get back to site? And they didn't do that. So I wonder if they're going to run into the same difficulties as what they did on Chalet. But right now, the roam game isn't really being tested. You can see a much more passive playstyle coming in from Akave. They're just hard focused and opening up in towards that laundry and actually getting a breach going on. Reduct will try and challenge above and try and hold back GG, or maybe GG's holding back him. I'm not entirely sure, but either way, both of these players will be having a fight with one another. 30 seconds to go. MIBR are set up. They have plenty of holes that perhaps Luke can try and swing from. He's in a nice position, of course, Ollie. Can look straight onto that breach with that soft wall. And of course, you have the Smoke who can sit and lie in wait. Doesn't have any gas canisters, Ollie, but has delayed them for the meantime.
Only 20 seconds left, so still a possibility here for Akave to make something happen, but this push is going to have to be very successful very quickly. Redux going to find one on to Guicho. The kills do start to come through here for MIBR. 3 lined up. No clear route into the site, just a single doorway to push from. There was a chance for Akave, but it wasn't a great one.
A lot of that came down to actually losing the sledge in that opening engagement, Ollie. You don't have the sledge, you don't have the vertical action. If you don't have the vertical, nobody inside of the site's actually going to feel threatened at all. If you actually look at this bomb site, all of it can be opened up. Every little angle can be abused, and because you don't have the sledge, you can't do that. So you're essentially just walking in a doorway and a breach. That's all they walked into. And the door and the breach are both in the same area. So you just look at one direction and you can cover both of them.
Attackers need to
You lose that
locate
sledge,
and
you
defuse
don't have any attacking power.
Yeah, Novice again not having the best start. Tends to be, you know, round number 3, round number 4 until he's finding the scoreboard. At least that was the case on Chalet, and it's looking likely that that's going to be the case here on Villa. GG opting for a bit of a switch around instead of the Zofia. He's going to, and the book, should I say, that he's been playing on, he's going to actually opt for the Ash. See if it has big enough impact to make that difference. We are going to see the trophy statuary site, so not downstairs in living room and library. Makes a nice change, but there's a bit of a wobbly setup here, Demo. This is it's not your standard. It's not too unusual, but it's a little bit bold. It's a little bit brave.
Yeah, Mira comes in. I think Mira's actually been shied away from on Villa. I think teams have actually left Mira open because realistically, Ollie, the Mira windows are quite easy to get rid of. All of the strong Mira windows are actually able to get opened up from below, maybe from a Buck, an Ash Sophia, a Nade. Myriad of things can really deal with that Mira window. So a lot of teams are not going to be picking her, but MIBR went for the risky pick. They went with the Mira. You can see straight away that Akave are going to catch on to that, and they want that kitchen control because then they can open up that Mira window. They have the Ash in the lineup. GG's already down there. He's doing the work of the entry. And you can see Bursa feeding that information. So these Mira windows, as good as they may look on paper, realistically, not that strong.
You just leave yourself very susceptible to losing sight very quickly and losing long lines of sight that can then be punished. GG is going to be below, and he's currently very preoccupied. I don't think he knows what Fowls is doing on the rotation. Fowls just suffering ever so slightly. Wasn't able to quite find the angle in time or get himself around the corner. Further work now being put in onto this hatch as shots are being exchanged on both sides. Mirror window there, we can see, has been entirely removed, and the Hibana can look to work through and try and affect that a little bit further. The mirror that's being played inside of Trophy looking towards Statuary is currently under attack as well. So much pressure here that's able to come from down to up. It does make it very difficult, especially now given that Fowls is probably being challenged from Master as well.
Yeah, a lot of attackers looking up, a lot of defenders looking down right now, and Fowls is in the thick of it. That mirror window and that breach is open, so he actually has to drop down to his belly, and look at Redux, slips his way in through the breach and rotates in towards Bafferm. A great play, and will find Novi's. Excellent work from Redux, sees the opening and makes the play. Redux still in a good scenario right now. Never mind, Bursa is going to go with the pre-fire right through the wall and will find Redux, so back in control of Akave. Fowls still trying to hold on to Astro as best as he can. Fires out another Toxic Bay, but in these holes below, this is where he's worried about Ollie.
Not an ideal position to be in, really. Luka does still have the option of a rotation if he gets the chance. Guicho's going to take a bit of Toxic Babe canister damage there as Fowls tries to find some safety. He's being stunned, but what a shot onto M-King. Luka could now come in and play big spoiler on the party as he's able to find one along with Raps. Burster now left as the last alive, does have the diffuser, gonna try and pop a stun around the corner, gets the shots in, finishes him off. Can he land onto Raps as well? There's been some great shots inside of this round, Evo. Bearing 9 in hand, but Raps Ferrari beaks the corner. He had to take the initiative there. What a back and forth round.
Oh, a clincher by all accounts, Ollie. No idea where that was gonna go. I mean, what a pick from Fowls. I mean, that was something special. And then we just seen everything else just kind of onslaught from that.
It was a special shot, wasn't it? Crosshair placement, seriously on point for that shot. I hope it's in the replay. I'm pretty sure it will be there. Just one bullet. It's just perfect, isn't it? That's the sort of shot that you perform and you just get off the back and you think, oh, I need to go and rewatch that a couple of times just to boost my own ego, you know. And certainly it feels good for Fowls there. 3 rounds to 0 here for MIBR as they really are starting to run away with it. It's the closest round we've seen for a long time, though, Demo.
Yep.
So Akave can at least take that from it and know that, you know, not a million miles off the pace. That came down to a 1 versus 1, albeit very scrappy. But still a chance here for him to pick up a couple.
Bomb located by attackers.
So Mira, again, being brought out, and similar story, Ollie. It just feels as if the mirror windows aren't really going to give you a whole lot. I mean, you looked at how the mirror windows played out last time. Basically gave, I think, the Habana just a clear line of sight, and that put a lot of pressure on the Fowls. We've seen him in that position. Couldn't really stand anywhere safe.
Yeah, the mirror windows gave such focus for Akave to work on that it was almost the undoing of the round for them, because their entire focus was working vertically onto those mirror windows. And on the MIBR side, if they hadn't brought those windows, then they would have probably just faced a very standard attack, and it might have been a little bit easier to deal with because it's a bit more predictable. But yeah, the mirror for me is I'm not a big fan of the mirror pick on a Villa, but you can't argue with it. MIBR are making it work, and it looks a bit scrappy. It's not necessarily the cleanest siege we've ever seen, but Redux is making it happen.
Already, Goyo Shield's going to be popped open, and that is thanks to the Twitch drone. Twitch, an operator that we actually don't mention a lot, Ollie, who is, at the moment, I think, a great pickup in the meta. I think it gives you that fragging potential. The Twitch drone's been able to eliminate a lot of the utility. For example, the Goyo Shield's just been popped open. You think of Wamidis, ADSs, the lot. Everything can get taken out by that Twitch drone. And it has an infinite range, which is also very, very strong. The roam game comes in thick and fast right now. We see a lot of opening engagements happen. But it's Akave, who actually look as if they came out on top with 2 kills over the 1. Lukid will find the refrag, and it goes all the way back into an even man split. 3 versus 3, and there's still half the round to go.
King's taking a huge chunk of damage. He's going to jump in the clone just to scout ahead and make sure that those defenders have retreated back onto the site. Nice air jab placement there just on the window frame. It's going to be impossible to shoot off there if a player does choose to rotate up Astro, which at this point would be a bit of a stretch given that there's less than half the round remaining in an equal 3v3, but flank drones are being set up nonetheless. The belt and braces approach here from Akave as they really don't want to leave anything to chance as they look to move on through. They've still got tools to make this happen as well. We see a rotation coming out here from Bursa. His attention is going to be likely onto that vault wall, but he's not counting on Philippox just being played inside a 90. Quick rotation out, however, sees that vault wall be open and vulnerable, and we can start to think about placing the X-Kairos pellets onto that wall, getting that line of sight open and forcing the players out of the vault.
In goes a Toxic Babe.
Attackers recover
The first one for Files, just kind of stems them back from that zombie door, and a bit of a rotate coming in. Bursa now looking to maybe go over towards Study, and you can see M-King creeping about downstairs and will find a down on the Files. That is a good spray. There's a bit of damage, means that MIBR have to be on their guard, and as quickly as he rotated downstairs, Ollie, he's actually going to rotate back over towards Zombie. A lot of pressure comes down to Bursa in this scenario. Like, he needs to hold on to Study and make sure that Lukid cannot slip in and deny this plan as it goes down. So all pressure on Bursa, and he makes the jump, and he makes the challenge. A massive play from him. Falzo in the 1 versus 2, and he's going to win it down to time. How on earth have MIBR pulled that one off?
How have they gotten away with that? Bursa has hopped in and managed to shut Lukid down, which was an engagement I didn't think he was going to win. And then we see players just being thrown at doorways on the swing, and Fowls is just like, I just need to stay alive for another second. That's it. The diffuser's cold on the ground. There were still 2 nades left in the hands of the Iana as well. M-King had 1 nade left as the round ended. Now, it was 2 right up until about 10 seconds, so I'm not sure where the first one went. but certainly I thought he was going to use those nades from below. He was below. We managed to get the down. Fowls was the player that got picked up there in that round demo. Fowls was downed by M King as M King made a rotation up red stairs. Just a catalogue of errors.
Locate and defuse bombs.
And they're suffering for it. 4 rounds in a row, MIBR have won, and MIBR, they haven't looked too good. I think they've looked shaky. I think their opening engagements have been not the same as what we've seen on Chalet. And I would say that Akave have actually had control of that early game for the majority of how these rounds have been going. It's just that second half where Akave struggle. They struggle whenever they're in the lead. They then give away, stupid picks. They let players rotate into areas that they shouldn't be.
10 seconds left before insertion.
It's a weird one for Akave. It's just that finishing is not being done.
Comes down to the clutch factor again, doesn't it? It's a comment we made about Black Dragons yesterday. And they're a team that have that clutch factor when they need it. MIBR have that clutch factor. They have that round winning mentality, whatever you want to call it, that enables them to get through games where, they're not looking squeaky clean. And there's quite a few mistakes in the game that they're playing, but they still come away with a round win at the end and ultimately the map win if it goes that way. So it's that different. It's just a different gravy, and it's a different caliber of player when they've got that ability to still win out the round consistently. And you think about some of the big clutches we've seen out of MIBR over the past 12 months or so, and even a little bit longer, maybe over the last 24. It's incredible, isn't it? Every single player on that side has got that potential.
Yeah, I think that was something that maybe we kind of overlooked at Shala. Yes, we hyped up how good Reduct was playing, but don't forget, Fleapox had big moments. Lucan had big moments. The big free fraggers for MIBR all stepping up. You combo that with Fowls, who we know can do wonders in that clutch scenario. It's the making of a great recipe for a brilliant team.
Opening pick on to Novi's again inside of round number 5. Not the greatest series for Novice, not the greatest series for JJ either. Both players still sat on 1 kill in round number 5. When you're looking at a couple of your fraggers, that's not ideal. M-King is going to be able to drag one back, though. Takes out Raps below and can quickly make that rotation on the Zephyr to try and gain a little bit of this vertical control. The site being downstairs in the kitchen means that some attention is going to be paid toward that top floor. Now, Novice has actually switched over. He's not playing the sledge anymore. He's actually on the Twitch. So regardless of his loss, it doesn't really impact their ability to open up this floor. But they are still going to struggle to do that a little bit.
Yeah, they're actually going to change up their plans just a tad. Instead of going pure direct into laundry, they're actually going to try and challenge these roamers upstairs. I think it was Reduct was upstairs for a very long period of time while he wasn't. He was just there being a pest. So it's good to see that Akave have realized, okay, we want to get rid of this guy because he caused issues last time. Let's just hunt him. And they're doing that. They're able to push away, well, for the most part, push away some players of MIBR. But the Yannick goes in realistically before the drone is finished doing the drone work, and that's what happens to you. GG just needs to slow down just by a fraction. As soon as he finds out that the stairs is clear, that's him in. But he's moving in before that drone has really done its job, Ollie, and it's cost him there.
Certainly has. The vertical holes can be open, but at 20 seconds left, you don't really want to be relying on vertical holes. A hatch drop comes in, and the diffuser is presented for Reduct. He's full white flash, but he's not even going to mind. He's going to continue to take the challenge and actually finishes off Bursa with the pistol. M-King going to be the next player through the hatch. 6 seconds left. He might have the LMG, but there's no way that he pulls this one off. Picks up 1, picks up 2, nearly picks up 3. I was nearly going to eat my words there. There were still a couple of players for MIBR that he would have had to wade on through. A little bit closer than potentially they would have liked, but Fowls in with the finishing blow. And that is going to be a very clean defensive sweep here for MIBR.
5-0. Still 1 more to go, Ollie. Don't forget about that. There's still potential of a flawless defensive Villa half, which does not happen really ever, to my knowledge. That just doesn't happen. So MIBR in great standing. I really don't know what Akave can do to come back from this. I think that was a bit of a switch. We kind of praised them, saying their opening half was great. The first half performance was phenomenal. That wasn't, though. It looks as if they kind of changed up their ideas and they just wanted to go for the kills. Look at how the droning was done with GG moving in before the drone had finished out his job. That tells me that they're desperate to get kills and they know that they need to do something. But then that's whenever the standards start to drop and mistakes happen.
Yeah, and the mistakes are mounting now to a point where you just wonder if Akave can mentally reset and come back from that in such a short amount of time. They're 2 rounds away from losing the series at this point, not just the map. And that's not a lot of time to be, really starting to fundamentally change the way that you've been playing Siege all day up until this point. I believe they've probably still got a tactical timeout left if they wish, but there's no indication that they want to try and use that, at least to my knowledge. So almost strange to see, Demo. You're thinking about, this is it. You've got 2 rounds left to try and sort of start the impossible comeback. Do they want it? Are they going to use that? Or are they just going to run through the motions and hope that something changes?
They need something. I don't know what their plan's going to be. I'm not really seeing like an operator that would be too influential. It's not like a Monty's coming out or a Blitz or a Ying. Those operators that we don't see, Ollie, but we know the power that they can bring in a moment's notice is massive. So it's just kind of looks to be same old, same old. GG. On his own again. This is what he kind of got into on Chalet, was he's going around by himself looking just to kind of rat a pick. But usually we see him actually get traded off a lot of the times. It has worked for him though this time, so all credit to GG. The play has worked for him. Fleapox goes down. So this is better from Akave. GG's very fortunate that nobody was with Fleapox, and we kind of mentioned about MIBR. They're very good at the trade game. Well, they were in Chalet anyway. GG even rotates to the other side of the map and actually looking for picks in towards Astro.
If GG can find himself a couple here, it might be enough to give Akave a little bit of a better opening here, but it's not something you can rely on round after round. An engagement's going to take place here as M-King does shut Reduc down at the bottom of Astro stairs. It's another piece of information that Akave can tick off their list, and MIBR now know that there are a couple of players down here. Not entirely sure why Reduc was down there on the dock anyway, but maybe just got caught fishing a little bit. 3 versus 5, where have we seen this before, Demo? MIBR aren't beyond winning these. It all comes down to this next bout of pressure. Akave just going to spend a little bit of time in the drone, trying to gather a little bit of intel. Novice just takes a bit of damage there from presumably the Toxic Babe canister, but unnecessary swing from Guicho. This is where it starts. And all of a sudden, you're only 1 man ahead. Now you're level at 3-3. Raps has taken Burster down, and all of a sudden, we've seen 2 solo challenges and 2 kills go to MIBR.
This is how it happens. Akave, again, that opening half, great work from them to get the 2 picks. And then they start going in one by one again, Ollie. That tail of the animals go marching one by one, and that's exactly what's happening to Akave. MIBR have pulled back to 5 versus 3 into a 2 versus 3. This is their round now. The tides have changed. The momentum is now with them, and Hobbies will slip in, find 1 pick for himself, but there's the trade-off. Raps is ready for him. And a 1 versus 2 for M-King. Has the GA in hand. Big old gun, big old LMG. Can he make it sing, though? Walks his way in free back from into Astro now. Not too sure about somebody behind the shield. Goes for a pre-fire. Doesn't know where to look. 15 seconds. Time is getting away from him and knows he does not have the diffuser. He has to play for the kills. He's going left. He's going right. Which way is he going? Into the arms of Lou Kid. MIBR, a 3 versus 5 cleanup.
Second 3 versus 5 of the map as well. Really nothing is beyond these guys at the moment. It doesn't seem as though anything they get faced with is going to phase them in the slightest. They can just roll through the motions and go, yeah, well, if we've lost 2 guys, that's 2 guys to watch cameras at this point. And we know that we've got this. We know that we can get the job done. The rotation that we saw come out of Fouls there in that round, dropping through the hatch and just picking off the player on the Astro stairs. Great stuff. We just saw Akave freeze, Demo.
Yeah,
they got a couple of kills. They threw some bodies at a problem, and then they froze. And then they were like, oh no, we've done it again. We've let go of that advantage that we got in the early part of the round. Let's just stop. And MIBR are like, no, we know where you are now. We're going to start aggressing. We're going to start pushing a little bit harder. Match and series point. One of the quicker villas I have seen in recent memory inside of a match, certainly of this level. 6 rounds to 0 for MIBR on the defense. They switch things over onto the attack. Let's see how long it takes them to close this game out, because that's what it is now, Demo. It is a matter of time.
It's a mental strain, isn't it, now, where we look at Akave. You're 6-0 down. At this stage, you're thinking, we literally cannot make a single mistake. There is no, oh, we'll get it back the next time we defend here. There's none of that. You have to win every defense that you have. That like, if you're thinking that way, your mental is going to be chocked, Ollie. They need to be able to get out of that mindset and just reset as if it's 0-0. That's the only way they can do that, and it all comes down to their mental.
Yeah, because some of the mistakes and some of the hesitation that you're going to be playing with, given the occasion, given the match point, is going to make you play in a different way, and that's not something that Akave can really afford to do. Or maybe they can, you know, maybe the way that they have been playing hasn't been careful enough. Maybe they've been a little bit too reckless, and things haven't worked out for them. It's always difficult to tell. I think the clear thing for us, at least, and the thing that we've spoken about the most, Demo, has been the trades. It has been the confidence to take something if they see that it's clear, or the willingness to play a little bit more patiently. And it's those three things that have significantly let them down here. MIBR, they're not going to rush this. They know they've got so many opportunities to try and close this one out. And why squander any of them? They can take the time to drone. They can take the time to gather that info. We've got red pings of utility that's going to be up there on side of that second floor. And we've got players now that are coming in to try and do something about it. We've got a book. We've got some nades. We've got everything that we need to get the job done here.
A bomb has been located.
Lucan has the nade out, toss it up towards that main stairs, and that's gonna be a free kill with the nades. That's what we expect for Villain, that explosive nature that you have. Raps is gonna get picked off, but again, the trade-off is there. Lucan will find Guicho, so still MIBR in strong position now to try and see out this round. They have a man advantage. They've eliminated the two anchors, all the Echo gone, and the smoke. Massive kills.
Bomb located by attackers.
I'm not sure how they've managed to cherry pick those two either.
Yeah.
It's not easy, is it? You know, you can't always pick who you get, but they've taken out two of the most important defenders on the map at this moment in time, because time is going to become a factor here. We've already got a minute left, so there isn't a great deal of it for MIBR to be working with, especially if M King and JJ come up with a couple of kills like they have. Epox, he's pretty much locked off there on side of that 90 window. Can't challenge it and instead chooses to dip on out. Fouls, he's going to open up the wall into study, but is he going to be able to challenge onto it? He knows that there's at least 2 or 3 guns inside of sight that are pointed in his direction. He needs to wait for this rotation from Epox to see if a bit of a distraction can be provided.
Epox walks up, trying to take the engagement against Gigi, but he's ready for him, and it looks as if that maybe Akave might get their first round, but they have to go up against Fouls, or maybe Fouls has to go up against them in this scenario. Not in a great position. We'll try and open up that mirror window and rotates over towards Long, but surely he's going to be spotted out, and into the gunfire he goes. Akave, they finally stopped the...
So easy to say. I don't think the MIBR are going to be feeling too downtrodden. What about that for a nade, by the way? Like, that's surely a gunfight, not a nade that you want to try and throw. If someone's shooting at you, I'd quite like to be shooting back. I'm not sure I'd like a nade in my hand, but Luca just cool as a cucumber.
Yeah. Now we move in towards the next defense for Akave. Keep in mind they need to run the gauntlet, not just once where you try and do every rotation, which would be the Aviator in games, the Trophy Statuary, and typically the Kitchen. You have to do it twice, Ollie. So you have to be as clean as you possibly can. Let's see what their setup's going to bring. No mirror this time from Akave. Got the Goyo in. Got the Kaid in, which is an operator that's actually let through on Villa. One that actually we actually see banned out a few times as well. Although we see teams don't really want to deal with Kaid because it can be tricky with Thatcher typically being banned, where then you have to go below, and finding the Kaid charge is sometimes tricky. So it is a decent ban, and certainly a decent pick if he's left open.
It's just going to give MIBR a bit of a focus here, isn't it? They've got somewhere to use maybe the lifeline or the sledge nades or the spear nades, whatever it might be, to try and deal with that electrical and deal with that problem. They had a good focus in the previous round at working vertically, and I'm sure that that will remain here. Of course, Redux might get lucky. He might be able to get the Twitch drone in. Maybe that's going to be his intention. He's thrown it out onto the roof. He's going to try and weasel his way into sight. Just gets spotted very quickly by the Arunian. Excuse me? What? Like, is this an invisible Twitch drone demo?
Perhaps. Interesting one. Did you cause that, Ollie, part-time magician?
It just seems to be doing laps of the site for free.
Located by attackers.
He's just running around players' feet like, yeah, I'm invincible.
You've actually got that new cloaking device, isn't it? It's actually been vigilified. Is that a good? That's a good word. Vigilified. That's what's happened to it.
We'll take it.
Yep.
GG will take the opener. Luke, he's going to be the first player to fall. Couple of nades gone, and of course Sledge's hammer. Raps just trying to deal with a little bit of utility there inside of Astro. Tosses a nade down the stairs for good measure. Felipox coming up against quite an obstacle there on Wolf Window as more info's being gathered here, but MIBR are struggling to find an in.
Yeah, it looks as if they're a bit stunned. They're not entirely sure what they want to go for, and I do worry with how they're kind of setting up. It looks as if maybe they're trying just to walk into sight, but then you're challenging into a single doorway, and oh, that's never a good idea, especially whenever they don't have Astro Stairs control. But Burst actually is going to make the first move. He's going to swing in. The smoke was sitting, lying in wait inside of Astro, but here comes the big old LMG, and Raps absolutely tears them apart. A 1 versus 3. Oh, cannot finish off the Aruni. GG. Inside of the 1 versus 1. Has to keep his team alive. He's up against Fouls. The HP different is a massive. Fouls know exactly where he is. Doesn't have any flashbangs. Tries to bait out the pick. GG will not win it. Fouls sends his team through into the grand final. MIBR, a blinder of a Villa and well-deserved victory.
A scrappy round to finish things off there for MIBR, but they get the job done nonetheless. Villa was very kind to them there. We can see some applause